I am Dracoya, back here with Matt the Pickled Dragon, and today we want to talk about movies that have inspired us, some of our D&D campaigns, inspired some games, some books, just general inspirational nerdom. And as always, we have drinks.
Oh, yes. My Bullet whiskey, 10 years aged.
And margaritas, homemade, delicious.
Clink.
So the first movie that I want to bring up is The Princess Bride. It's just a classic, beautiful movie. You've got all the elements that you would ever need in a good D&D campaign. You've got the rescued princess. You've got the idiotic bard who thinks he's so clever. You have so many different people out on their own little quests. You have the search for true love. You have adventure and torture and battles. And then I also, I just love the chaos that ensues in that entire movie. And there's definitely quite a few parts that make absolutely no sense. One really great clip that I want to bring up is that we have Andre the Giant after they just brought Wesley back to life, and Wesley's like, oh, if only we had a hell cape. And of course, he just pulls it out of nowhere because that's D&D, baby.
Absolutely. You get, on the spot Hellfire capes or whatever it was called, Holocaust cape or whatever it was called. I can't remember.
It was a wild cape that was supposed to not burn, but keep the wearer alive.
Yes. It was wonderful. And of course, the SURSs, what was it?
Oh,
RUS, or I can't remember. It was rodents of unusual size.
Rodents of unusual size. Oh
yes.
My gosh, what was that?
I don't know, but I think the guy that wrote it must have been a little bit mad and a little bit genius, which I think is always that fine line that really creative people walk,
Right.
But it is a fantastic one.
Amazing movie, and if you haven't seen it yet, you're really missing out. It's such a good time.
So we're gonna pause here just a second because we're gonna show Dracoya's favorite little clip from The Princess Bride right here.
What are the three terrors of the fire swamp? One, the flame spurt. No problem. There's a popping sound preceding each. We can avoid that. Two, the lightning sand. But you were clever enough to discover what that looks like, so in the future we can avoid that too.
Wesley, what about the ROUSs?
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
So, we're back. Hope you enjoyed that. So my first pick is a movie, like all of my picks from the 1980s from my youth, Dragon Slayer. And it had some of the greatest characters in it. Vermithrax, the pejorative, was the name of the dragon. Vermithrax, I keep saying but it's just pejorative. Vermithrax pejorative was the dragon. It's set in 6th century post-Roman Britain. So it's like the height of the Dark Ages. Ulrich of Craggamore was the last living sorcerer. He's got a little apprentice called Galen. And when this village comes to the sorcerer and says, please help us, this dragon is taking our daughters. It is like the classic fairy tale where the dragon is eating the virgin daughters.
I remember that.
Yes, he's eating the virgin daughters once a year to avoid, to stop him from,
killing the village.
Killing everything, torching the village. And there's these great villains in it. There's this jerk king. His name is Cassidorus. And the thing that I always remember is at the end where the dragon is finally slain and Cassidorus rides out there with his procession, goes up to the carcass of the dragon, sticks his sword into it and proclaims himself Dragon Slayer. I did it. But I mean, it is just a great little movie and for 1981, the special effects were great. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine being a kid who's just really discovered Dungeons and Dragons, and then this movie comes out and you watch it and you're like, that's it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And it is the classic, you know, unassuming hero who saves the damsel in distress, who actually you'll have to watch the movie. I'm not going to give away too much, but she isn't totally helpless, let's just say that. But let's go ahead, and I want to roll my favorite clip, and it really will embody for me what it is to be Dungeons and Dragons. Go. And we're back, and I'm sure that Jacoya is ready for her next big inspirational muse.
Absolutely. Well, I think my next pick would have to be Indiana Jones. I mean, classic dungeon crawler. Everyone that I've ever met that wants to be a ranger or a fighter, at some point, they've decided, how can I be Indiana Jones with the hat and the whip? And it's your classic trying to solve puzzles and problems going throughout the dungeon, and then you've got Nazis. So who doesn't love to hate Nazis? So yeah, it's a beautiful classic movie. You've still got little elements of rescuing the princess, but if you've watched all of them, you realize that Indy, he has a lot more complexity to him and all the relationships in his life, which is so fun. I also love the idea that he's a giant adventurer, dungeon dweller by night, but he's actually a professor by day. He still has to have a real job to pay the bills. So, yep, classic. And with that, I will show you my next clip.
Indiana Jones is so classic. And I love the fact, much like adventurers, that his detractors prefer to call him a grave robber rather than an archaeologist. And it's kind of like murder hobo versus adventurer, But
is there really a difference?
No, not really. But that is a wonderful pick. I love it. My next pick, though, comes from 1988. Many of you may not have been alive then, but there was a little movie called Willow that came out at the time. And it, again, has some great villains with great names. Queen Bavmorda was the villain in it.
Oh, that's so good.
Yes.
I haven't seen this movie.
And she learns that there is a prophecy that is going to bring her down and kill her. There's going to be a baby who is rune marked, have a special birthmark. And so she goes on the rampage killing babies. And but the actual rune marked baby, this cute little red-haired girl, is dropped off in a village of little dwarves, or I can't remember what they're called. Their people are called, but I know the Willow is your protagonist, and he rescues the baby, and it's up to him to protect the baby. But Val Kilmer's in the movie, and he plays Mad Mardigan, a swordsman who he's the anti-hero, right? He kind of unwillingly falls into the fold and becomes the Han Solo type character where he acts like he doesn't want to help, but he knows it's the right thing, so he does it anyway, But There's also a great scene where there's these little brownies. They're like this tall, and they have a serious case of tough man or short man complex where they gotta like shake their fists at
Short
everything.
man syndrome.
Yeah, they gotta shake their fists at everything bigger than them. But it is a great movie. It has, obviously all the combat, the sword play. Val Kilmer did an amazing job. In fact, Mad Mardigan would appear in D&D campaigns of mine because he was just so iconic to me. But there were also monsters and lots of magic, of course, and it's definitely worth a watch. But here's one of my favorite clips from the movie right here. Boom. That just happened.
All right. So last but not least, I'm going to throw you through a loop. Groundhog's Day. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Groundhog's Day, there are so many references that you are missing out on. Basically, the theme is that a man goes to a town for Groundhog's Day and he has to relive the same day every single day until he gets it right. And he is stuck in a time loop, and it is infuriating and horrible. And the whole movie is about how much he grows and he learns as a person. Now, anyone who's ever played D&D knows that you grow. Your characters grow, but you grow along with your characters in every single D&D campaign. But Groundhog's Day, the way I envision it, if I was going to roll a D&D campaign, easy. Wizard, make you stuck in a time loop with your characters. Imagine a whole D&D group stuck like that every single day until they can figure out a way to end the day perfectly and defeat the evil wizard and get out. It's just a really good classic. It's a lovely romance movie, but yeah, it was just a little bit original, one of its kind. I really loved Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, there's the old joke that they should announce a Groundhog's Day 2, and then when everyone goes to the theaters to watch it, just show the same movie again.
Yeah, that would be pretty clever, actually.
Yeah, it is a fantastic movie, and there are so many, like you said, iconic scenes from it, and it is extremely original and extremely clever writing, and I have to admit that I took the idea in a game myself, in a D&D game. So yes, it has inspired me. Definitely worth a watch if you've never seen it.
I can't wait to hear more about that in one of our other videos. But yeah, let's go back to the clip.
I'm sorry? What was that again?
I'm a god.
You're God.
I'm a god. I'm not the god. I don't think.
Because you survived a car wreck?
You folks ready to order?
I didn't just survive a wreck. I wasn't just blown up yesterday. I have been stabbed, shot, poisoned, frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
Oh, really?
And every morning I wake up without a scratch on me, not a dent in the fender. I am an immortal.
All right, so my last pick is another classic fairy tale story. 1985, Legend came out from Ridley Scott, and I can't really think of a single scene. I have a hard time nailing it down to a single scene because the whole movie to me is simply magic. And it has it has got the great villain, the special effects and makeup artistry in it are exquisite. I have to go back to the villain, like the Lord of Darkness. That's what he's known as, or just Darkness. But I think it's played by Tim Curry, and he just crushes it. But I mean, we've got fairies and unicorns and a hero and a princess, and it just it just absolutely seethes magic to me. And I think it's easy to get caught up in the kind of the fairy tale romance of it all, but it was also much like a D&D adventure, absolutely action packed. And I think this clip really will say it all.
What have we here? A little boy.
All right.
Well,
Well,
that's exciting.
yes, I definitely have. I still to this day will pull that movie out and watch it. And I have seen the director's cut and I've seen the theatrical release, and I still can't decide. They're different enough, but I can't decide which one I like better. It is.
Oh, so if I asked you for your recommendation, director's cut or theatrical release, you couldn't tell me which one?
I could not.
Okay.
I could not. They're just different, and they're both fantastic. So we like this movie, like this video states. This is part one. We are going to continue shortly with a part two to this, where we wrap up. We were going to each do top 5, but we realized it would take forever. So we're going to split it into 2 videos. And then we're going to do 2 more in the next video, and then have kind of a litany of honorable mentions, where we'll share with you some movies, maybe that you've heard of, maybe you haven't, but they're all quite good. So
lots of good recommendations. So if you guys need any inspiration for future games, campaigns, come hang out with us. We've got it all.
Absolutely. So with that, I want to mention that we do have some giveaways coming up. So keep a lookout for those. We also will be featuring in the future some videos on books that inspired us, and also other games that have inspired us. So keep a lookout for that. But until then, please like, comment, and subscribe. Help us with that algorithm. And until next time, have another round on us.
Clink.